Hi, I'm Terrisavellefoy, your cheerleader of dreams. Today we're talking about something you might not expect. If you want to succeed wildly, if you want to live your dreams, if you want to become everything God's put inside you, it's not just about what you start doing, it's about what you stop doing. That's right. Success comes from quitting some things. So today we're going to talk about 10 things to stop today if you want to be successful. And I've got some fun stories of people you're going to recognize for each of my points. Plus, here's your free bonus download to go with the podcast. It's a clear, motivating checklist of the 10 things to stop with quick action points to help you gain clarity, momentum, and success. So just click the link in the description and get this free bonus right now. Okay, number 1 is to stop waiting for perfect timing. There's never going to be a perfect moment. You know, I'm sure you've heard stories about people like Howard Schultz, the former CEO of Starbucks. You know, Howard didn't grow up wealthy. His father was a truck driver and his family lived in public housing in Brooklyn. But he saw a small coffee shop doing something different, serving premium coffee with an Italian cafe vibe, and it caught a vision. Well, he didn't wait for a degree in hospitality. He didn't wait to feel ready. In fact, he convinced the founders to let him join the company, and then he pitched a bigger idea for expanding Starbucks, and they rejected it. So what did he do? He left. He found investors and started his own version of the little coffee shop. Eventually, he came back and bought Starbucks, then scaled it into this global giant. But think about it. If Howard had waited for money, approval, perfect conditions, the Starbucks we know wouldn't exist. So success doesn't wait, and neither should you. You've got to start messy, start scared, start imperfect, but just start. God steers moving ships. Remember that? Okay. Number 2 is to stop doubting yourself. God didn't make a mistake when he gave you that dream. You might want to listen to that again. God didn't make a mistake when he gave you that dream. You know, I can't help but think about how before Rocky hit the big screen, Sylvester Stallone was just a struggling actor with a slurred speech and partially paralyzed face. He was rejected over 1,000 times by agents, told he'd never make it in Hollywood, and he literally had to sell his dog just to eat. Yes, his dog. But he had a dream in his heart and a pencil in his hand. He wrote the script for Rocky in 3 days, and he just knew he was meant to play the lead role. Well, Hollywood said, "We'll buy your script, but you can't star in it." He said, "No deal." He stuck to his dream, and guess what? He got the part. And of course, Rocky won Best Picture, and he became a Hollywood legend. And yes, he did buy his dog back. But here's my point. When you stop doubting and start deciding, destiny shows up with boxing gloves and a spotlight. So you were born to fight for your dream. Philippians 1:6 says that he who began a good work in you will complete it. Okay, number 3, you have to stop procrastinating. Procrastination is assassinating your assignment. So every day that you delay, you're delaying your destiny. Now there's an actress named Taraji P. Henson, I think that's how you say her name. She was a single mom, 26 years old, with just $700 in her pocket when she packed up her little son and left Washington, D.C. for Hollywood. Everyone told her it's too late to make it in acting. You're too old, you should have started sooner. But Taraji said, if I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fail big, chasing what I love. And she didn't wait for perfect timing. She didn't wait to have thousands saved up. She took action. And guess what? That late start landed her an Oscar-nominated role in The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. She got to act with Brad Pitt. Now that's a reason right there to stop procrastinating. See, your dream won't wait forever. So stop putting it on the someday shelf. Action beats perfection every time. So start with just taking tiny steps today. Number 4, stop surrounding yourself with negativity. Your environment matters more than you think. In fact, do you remember the story of how Jim Carrey was living in his car, struggling to make it as an actor, surrounded by people who said his dreams were impossible? But guess what? He made a decision that changed everything. First, he quit hanging around negativity and started connecting with people who believed. He put himself in an environment that just uplifted him, surrounded by people who were also ambitious and hungry for success just like him. And you know the story, I've told it 1,000 times, how in 1991, Jim did something huge. He wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and he dated it Thanksgiving 1995. He didn't just dream it, he believed it. 4 years later, Jim got paid exactly $10 million for Dumb and Dumber. Why? Because he surrounded himself with the right people and put himself in the right environment. See, you can't afford to hang around negativity if you want to chase your dreams. So surround yourself with those who believe in you and your vision, people who challenge you to grow. And when you do that, success becomes inevitable. Just like Jim Carrey, choose your circle wisely because the right people and the right environment can accelerate your success. Okay, number 5, stop comparing yourself to others. You've heard that comparison is the thief of joy, but it's also the murderer of momentum. You know, I think about Debbie Fields, how she had a dream to create the best cookies in the world. But at just 20 years old, with no business experience and just $25,000, she opened her first shop. But here's the thing. She didn't let the bigger companies or doubters stop her. While others compared themselves to competitors or tried to copy their success, Debbie stuck to her vision. She made her cookies extraordinary, and guess what? She built an empire. Today, Mrs. Fields Cookies is a global brand, all because Debbie Fields refused to compare her journey to anybody else's. Stop comparing. Focus on what you do best and stay true to your dream. You're not behind, you're on your own path. So don't waste your time comparing yourself, just keep doing the work and watch your dream come to life. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. I just had to say that. Okay, and let me remind you, so you're not overwhelmed, I put together your free bonus. It's in your download to go with the podcast, 10 Things to Stop Today if you want to be successful. And what's inside this download is a clear, motivating checklist of the 10 things to stop, with quick action points to help you gain clarity, momentum, and success. So click the link and use this to help you succeed this year. Hey dreamer, I just wanted to take a quick break to say thank you for tuning in today. And I want to share something I'm so excited about. If you're ready to take real steps towards your dreams, to build the habits, mindset, and daily consistency to create the life God's called you to, then you need to be a part of the Dream Squad. This is our monthly challenge group full of like-minded, faith-filled go-getters who are serious about creating the life they were designed to live. Now, inside the Dream Squad, you'll get access to live video calls, weekly challenges, a thriving, positive community, and the support you need to finally stay consistent and build the habits that lead to success. So if you're tired of going it alone, if you know it's time to surround yourself with people who will stretch you, support you, and cheer you on, come join us in the Dream Squad. We'll drop the link in the show notes or the description below, and I'd love to see your name pop up in the group. All right, let's jump back into today's message, and remember, your dreams are possible and they're worth fighting for. Number 6, stop saying, I'm too busy. Don't you just hate when people always say that? Busy is not the same as productive. Busy doesn't lead to breakthroughs. Make time for what really matters. Focus on what moves the needle and let go of the rest. You know, you think about Steve Jobs. Here's my little phone. He didn't build Apple by staying busy. He made time for his most important goals, and that's why his vision changed the world. So if you want to succeed, stop being too busy and make time for what matters most. Schedule your dreams like they're doctor's appointments. In fact, you should watch my video on the 15 tips to be more productive, where I show you how to block time for your dreams. Okay, number 7 is to stop replaying past failures. Your past does not define you. You know, I think about Tyler Perry and his story of just unbelievable struggle, but also incredible triumph. He was raised in poverty, went through severe abuse at the hands of his father, and he just lived in this hostile environment. Well, as a young man, he faced rejection after rejection in the entertainment industry, and it seemed like his dreams were never going to come true. But what sets Tyler Perry apart is that he refused to just replay those tapes of failure. He didn't let his painful past, countless disappointments define him. Instead, he got busy making a new story. And after years of hard work, he wrote, he produced his own plays, eventually landing on television with his famous character Medea. But he didn't stop there. Tyler Perry created his own film studio, which became one of the largest in the United States. And today, of course, he's a billionaire, and his journey is a testament of the power of letting go of the past. Tyler Perry says, "I've been through a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, but I've always believed that my future would be brighter than my past." He said, "I'm not defined by what happened to me, I'm defined by how I rise above it." Don't you love that? So Tyler's life ties in perfectly with the scripture, Isaiah 43:18. I have this scripture memorized. It says, "Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. God is doing a new thing in your life, and now it shall spring forth." See, Tyler Perry understood that in order to move forward, he had to stop replaying the past and start focusing on where God was taking him. I always say it like this: make your dreams bigger than your memories. Okay, number 8, stop low expectations. God is a big God, and he can do exceedingly abundantly above what you ask or think. That's Ephesians 3:20. And you may not realize this, but let me tell you the story about the comedian and actor Tim Allen. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but his journey to success is a powerful reminder that your past doesn't define your future, and that your expectations are crucial to your success. You know, Tim Allen's early life was far from glamorous. He was arrested for drug trafficking in his 20s, spent 2 years in federal prison, and at that point his life was just spiraling out of control. Most people would have just counted him out. But Tim Allen didn't let his past mistakes dictate his future. Instead, he made a decision to change his path and his expectations. When he got out of prison, Tim knew he needed a fresh start. So he began doing stand-up comedy, but even then his expectations weren't to just survive, they were to thrive. He didn't look at the comedy scene and think, "Oh, I'll just do this for a little bit and see what happens." No, he envisioned himself being successful, making it big, and creating a career that would last. Tim Allen's breakthrough came when he was cast in the hit TV show Home Improvement. And at the time, he was an unknown comic with a criminal record. Think about that. Hardly the image of a successful TV star. But Tim had this burning belief in himself and in his potential. He walked into that opportunity with the expectation that he was going to crush it. And he did. Of course, Tim Allen went on to become one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood, major success on TV and in movies like Toy Story and The Santa Claus. But it wasn't just talent that got him there. It was his unshakable belief in himself and in his ability to succeed. Even when everyone else had low expectations for him, he kept his expectations high. In fact, I thought this was interesting. Tim Allen heard me tell his story on a podcast, and he sent me a photo of him signed, thanking me for sharing his story. So set your expectations high and don't settle for anything less than your dreams. Okay, number 9, stop saying yes to everything. See, when you say yes to everything, you're saying no to your dreams. I'm always fascinated by the way Matthew McConaughey started saying no to the wrong things. Early in his career, he was offered tons of romantic comedy roles, and they were easy, they paid well, but they weren't his dream. He knew if he kept saying yes to everything, he'd never break free and reach his true potential. So he made a bold move. I mean, crazy bold. He turned down those offers knowing it's going to cost him immediate success and millions of dollars. But he had a bigger vision. He wanted to be known more for just that, not just that one type of role, the rom-com guy. So guess what he did? He said no to amazing offers, and that decision paid off. He landed a role in The Lincoln Lawyer, which then led to True Detective, which became a breakthrough in his career. But what happened was he redefined his success, and it all started with the courage to say no to what didn't align with his dreams. So I'm telling you, stop saying yes, say no to stop distractions and say yes to your vision. And when you focus on what truly matters, the right opportunities will come your way. Okay, number 10, stop ignoring the small things, because the small things are actually big things. In fact, let's talk about J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. You know, before she became this global phenomenon, she was a single mom living on welfare, struggling to make ends meet. She wasn't writing on a lavish desk with a fancy pen. No, she was scribbling her thoughts in a notebook at a local cafe. But every single word she wrote, it seemed small, insignificant, like it wasn't going to amount to much. But guess what? It was those small, consistent moments of writing that eventually led to a multi-billion-dollar franchise. She didn't skip over the small steps. She didn't wait for perfect conditions. She wrote day by day, building toward her dream. So your small steps today will turn into giant leaps tomorrow. So don't overestimate the power of consistent effort. Even in the tiniest actions, stay committed. So daily disciplines lead to lifelong success. And listen, you don't have to quit all 10 perfectly today. Just start with one. Pick one from the list to stop doing and watch how momentum starts to build. Remember, every small decision is designing your future. And God has big plans for you, but sometimes you have to clear out the clutter to make room for His blessings. So if you enjoyed this episode, would you do me a favor? Share it with a friend and subscribe to our channel. You are destined for greatness, and I'm cheering you on to live your dreams.
Join us for the Icing Women's Conference live experience in Paris, France with terrisavellefoy. This is your time to grow in your relationship with God, gain the biblical tools you need to live your dreams, break free from limitations, and make 2025 your most extraordinary year yet. This conference is a dream terrisavellefoy has had for 15 years, and now it's finally happening. Join Terry and anointed guest speakers on June 27th to 28th for an unforgettable weekend that will inspire and empower you to step into your God-given purpose in the heart of Paris. Go to terry.com to register for the Icing Women's Conference today. Don't miss this dream come true event for faith-filled women ready to live their dreams. We can't wait to see you in Paris at Icing 2025.